Nobody does the culture war more aggressively than the right does. So here we have a story coming out of the New York Post. Target holds emergency meeting over LGBTQ merchandise in Southern stores. Listen to this, guys. Some Southern Target stores were forced by the corporation to move LGBTQ pride merchandise away from the front of their locations after customer outrage to avoid a Bud Light situation. Of course, what they're referring to there is the Dylan Mulvaney situation where Bud Light hired a trans influencer to do an ad campaign with them, and there were Dylan Mulvaney faces on some of the beer, and then the right wing absolutely lost it over that and called it woke beer company or whatever. They continue here. Many Target locations across the country feature massive June Pride Month displays on an annual basis, with items this year ranging from tuck-friendly bathing suits for trans people to mugshots that say, mugshots. They sell mugshots at Target, to mugs that say gender fluid. But the retail juggernaut has been criticized by some conservatives for the displays with children's items particularly irking many customers. A Target insider told Fox News Digital that many locations, mostly in rural areas of the South, have relocated pride sections to avoid the kind of backlash Bud Light has received in recent weeks after using a trans influencer in a promotional campaign. A Target insider said there were emergency calls on Friday, and some managers and district senior directors were told to tamp down the pride sections immediately. We were given 36 hours to take all of our pride stuff, the entire section, and move it into a section that's a third the size. So get rid of a lot of the, pride-related merchandise, and hide it. Hide it. Get it out of plain sight. Because we don't want to get yelled at by conservatives. It's scary to get yelled at by conservatives. Quote, we call our customers guests. There is outrage on their part. This year it is just exponentially more than any other year. Huh. Interesting. The Target insider continued. I think given the current situation with Bud Light, the company is terrified of a Bud Light situation. So look, what does this mean? This means the right is now leaning harder and harder into culture war issues. By the way, they ran in the midterms in part on a trans panic, and it didn't work. And same way they ran on the crime panic, didn't work. Didn't work. The results show it. So what do? Yeah, let's double down on it. Let's lean in even harder. So this is a direct result of the Ben Shapiro stuff, the Matt Walsh stuff. And they like to think of themselves, we're serious people. Really? All you seem to talk about is culture war garbage. Is LGBTQ stuff, race stuff, gender, whatever. Like, that's all you talk about. How many segments can you do about being outraged over a Disney movie or some shit? Or some new superhero movie that has a black character in it? Or a gay character? Oh! You think you're serious? You think you're serious, people? You think that's fighting the power? God, it's so goddamn childish, man. But the fact that it's ramping up is genuinely scary. It is genuinely scary. Because it's taken hold, right? It's taken hold on the fringe among the extreme folks, and they're acting out over it. What kind of a person do you have to be to pick up the phone and angrily yell at some Target manager who makes $15 an hour, right? Threaten violence or whatever over like pride flags being sold in the store? Can you imagine what on earth has gone wrong in your life where you're at that point? I mean, that is rock bottom, man. You're going to show up and protest it. You're going to make a phone call. You're going to threaten people over a pride section during Pride Month. Jesus. And by the way, this is how they divide us, right? In a world that made sense, we'd all be angry over the fact that we don't have a living wage. We don't have universal health care. We don't have nearly enough union protection. The rich pay a lower tax rate than working class people. This is the stuff that should be getting us outraged. Our illegal wars. This is the stuff that should be getting us outraged. But the right has successfully whipped the far right up into a frenzy over gay people existing and trans people existing. They say the insider who has worked at the retail store for almost 2 decades said Target rarely makes such hasty decisions. They said Friday's call began with roughly 10 minutes on how to deal with team member safety because the amount of backlash the Pride merchandise has generated, noting that Target, Asset, Protect, and corporate security teams were present on the call. So in other words, they're getting threats. They're getting threats over having Pride sections. And you know what? When you look at what just happened in Allen, Texas with the Nazi shooter, When you look at what happened with a U-Haul truck trying to storm into the White House, dude had a Nazi flag. You look at the increase in mass shootings and whatnot. I understand why they're freaking out, right? I get it. It's all under the guise of trying to increase swim sales, the insider said. Everyone was like, thank God, because we're all on the front lines dealing with it. Target did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Fox News Digital has confirmed rural Target stores in South Carolina, Arkansas, and Georgia are among the locations to move the Pride sections. Most rank-and-file employees were left in the dark, with many not knowing the Pride sections would be moved until they noticed it themselves. Pride merchandise remains prominently displayed at other locations and on the Target website. Target Pride merchandise includes female-style swimsuits that can be used to tuck male genitalia. Some products are also labeled as thoughtfully fit on multiple body types and gender expressions. Pride merchandise also includes onesies and rompers for newborn babies, a variety of adult clothing with slogans such as super queer, party supplies, home decor, multiple books, and a grow at your own pace saucer planter. I don't even know what those words mean. Bud Light says Bud Light sales have plummeted since Backlash to the infamous partnership with transgender activist Dylan Mulvaney continues to haunt the company more than a month since it came to life. Look, you guys know the deal. The bottom line is, these are corporations. You know what they want? Money. You know what they want? Profit. They will do anything they think is the right thing to get them more profit. That's it. That's the whole trick. So why did Bud Light do that? I don't know. Sell some beer to trans people. We already got certain markets cornered, certain demographics cornered. Let's get a new one, right? That's what they thought. They didn't realize people had lost their goddamn minds, and the far right is so obsessed with the culture war and so anti-trans and anti-gay that there'd be a backlash over it. You know what? God bless them for being normal enough to not be obsessed with these issues. And when they saw it, they're like, oh, God damn. And so, yeah, they may have a decrease in sales or whatever now, but it'll bounce back. It always does. You're not going to take down a mega corporation like this through a boycott. How many other failed conservative boycotts have we seen? The only reason this is maybe landing more than other ones is because there is this very clear and rigorous campaign being waged by the likes of Matt Walsh types, Ben Shapiro types, and there's this wave of anti-trans bigotry. Also, you could say Ron DeSantis with all of his new laws he passed in Florida to crack down. That's all connected. But the end result here is devastating. You know? I mean, who would have thought at this late date we'd be moving backwards? On trans issues, maybe it's not as surprising, right? But on gay issues, it is kind of surprising. You felt like we hit a tipping point where it was like, yeah, everybody's, gay marriage, all the polls show, whatever it is, 70, 75% of the country is now pro-gay marriage. Turns out whatever the minority is, they're loud, they're aggressive, they're desperate, and they're threatening. And that's insane. It's just wild. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.